Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe with notifications on. Most of you are not subscribed, so do that. Anyways, let's get on with the video. Hey everyone, SMG here. Welcome back to another Jaden Animations reaction. Today we're checking out Pokemon Sent Me to Japan. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, and share. Let's dive right on in.
Remember when Pokemon sent me every single one of their Gen 5 sitting cuties for me to rank? Turns out they really liked that video. So much, in fact, that they said, "Hey Jaden, awesome video. Why don't you come to Japan to watch the Pokemon 2023 World Championships?"
Oh.
Our treat.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for your flights or hotel or nothing. I've been to Japan once before in my entire life, and it was back in 2018.
Her face was like...
We did a bunch of fun little Japanese tourist things. It was a phenomenal trip. But ever since then, I've always wanted to go back and do all the awesome nerdy stuff Japan has to offer that I didn't want to bother my family with. At the time, they didn't even know who Luffy was. They would have been so lost. So when Pokemon extended their hand and offered to fly not only
parents aren't like that. Hey, Alpharad, let's go.
In the world, I jumped for joy. Free trip to Japan. The tournament was
with Alpharad
for a single weekend, but Jacob and I planned to stay there for 3 whole weeks to do a bunch of said extra nerdy stuff.
Hey.
We were pumped. Eventually the time came, Jacob and I were packing up all our stuff and decided we both would bring an extra suitcase so we could treat ourselves a bit and buy a bunch of cool stuff while we're there. Don't judge us. We're anime and Nintendo loving impulse buyers going to Japan. A game plan was needed. We were being responsible. 2 extra suitcases was definitely gonna be enough. Yep. Equipped with our extra luggage, we headed off to the airport. Pokemon straight up gave us business class seats. We didn't ask
first
for them
class.
or anything. So when we boarded, we realized we had the seats where you could lay down. There even was some sort of seat divider that acted like a car window, so I could roll it down and bother Jacob whenever I wanted. Quick little 11-hour flight later, and we
11-hour flight,
it was time to have the best trip of our lives. I'm not joking. I had the most incredible trip and got to do things I won't ever forget. And I won't, because I've now plastered it onto the internet forever. We landed midday Japan time, so we decided to go to the first thing we wanted to see while abroad. Japanese McDonald's.
Japanese McDonald's!
Surprise, but Jacob and I both dropped our jaws when we saw something called the Double Big Mac on the menu. I thought Americans already went with the Big Mac, but Japan did the impossible, just to send a message. What a magical place.
Oh my god. I want a double Big Mac.
A bunch of cool stuff for the creators and partners they flew out, beginning with a group field trip to the Mega Tokyo Pokemon Center. Jacob and I woke up early for it and missed the bus they had for us. And it totally wasn't completely my fault entirely, because I hypothetically didn't read the schedule correctly and was taking my sweet time getting ready. Why would you think that? So we had to take the trains on our own to get there. Anyone that remembers my first Japan trip knows the trains are me and my family's mortal enemy #1. We kept getting it wrong, and it was failure after failure.
It's like an
entire trip.
anaconda or snake or something, right?
I would have grown as a Japanese understander, right? Nope, we got on the wrong train. But at least we were having a good time. After a lot of freaking out, mental strain, and regrets, we finally arrived at our destination, and although by the time we got there, they had already finished looking at the Pokemon Center, we were able to grab a quick snack with the group at the Pokemon Sweets Cafe. I meant to take a picture of the Pikachu waffle before I ate half its cranium, but I forgot, so this is what you get. Now that we were with the group, we were able to travel with them for the rest of the day, so we packed into the bus and headed off to a traditional tea ceremony where we were taught all about how the tea masters would make tea and tea etiquette and all these things about the significance of tea in Japanese culture, all while getting to taste the tea master made. Again, I meant to take this picture before I took a chunk out of the little sweet they gave us, but here we are yet again. I'm just not that great at this. They also served us a really special lunch of super fancy bento boxes. Like, so fancy that the host was like, dude, I've never even had these bento boxes before. I was super excited, but I don't mean to be ungrateful or wasteful, but the box was full of super fancy, complicated fish and seafood. I knew going to Japan I'd have to be flexible with food because it's really hard to be vegan or even vegetarian there, so I really tried to eat as much as possible,
Jaden, no!
But yeah, I struggled a lot. But I still had a great time, and it was an honor. We were dropped off in Yokohama Chinatown and left to explore a bit until
literally dropped off.
Everyone separated into groups, and Jacob, Stefan, the guy that sent me all the sitting cuties, you guys remember him, the guy named Steve, and I went and
oh my god, it's Minecraft! Okay.
Into a little arcade with a bunch of crane machines. I got this silly little bear minifigure. His name is Chico, so I decided to innocently carry him around in my pocket for the entirety of the trip. You know, because it was silly. This single action severely changed the course of my mental stability going forward. You'll see soon enough. But look at these cute photos I got with them.
Nice.
Dinner, headed back to the hotel, got to hang out with our good old Pokemon rival Jan a bit, and called it. The next day we all got to do some private shopping at the Pokemon World's pop-up shop. I'll just say we bought way too much stuff that we don't regret in the slightest. I even got this video of Jacob grabbing more and more sitting cuties as the workers kept reorganizing them to keep the display.
What are you doing,
perfect.
Jacob?
We walked out of there with
Alpharad, what are you doing?
Stuff. But it's okay, because remember, we anticipated this with our extra suitcases, which I am starting to wonder if they are going to be enough. But surely we will come down. We were then all taken to the creatures' offices. You know, just the place where they make Pokemon cards. It was gorgeous in there. They had these awesome sculptures of giant Pokemon cards with crystals, and all the walls were lined with 3D card art. It felt like I was in a building with a lot of significance. Because I was. We got a tour around the building, met the TCG card testers, and were able to ask them questions about their process. Even got to have a little Q&A session with Atsushi Nagashima, the game director of the Pokemon TCG. It was funny, one of the people in our group asked how they chose which Pokemon to make cards for. A good question. And then followed it up with, I really like Mantike, but there's only 2 Mantike cards that exist. And the assistant pulled up a list of all the Pokemon Mantike cards that have ever been created. And sure enough, there were only 2.
Just
the 2. Chuckled and was essentially like, yeah, sometimes Pokemon get lost in the cracks. We kind of just make cards.
Yeah, there's just 2 of them.
For example,
get lost.
My favorite Pokemon is Gengar. And you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. Also,
the smile.
We had a Q&A session with the Pokemon card art director and 3 artists who actually draw art for the cards. That was super interesting, and I was so incredibly inspired by that discussion. But you know those Pokemon cards with the super cute clay art?
Hey, it's Viger!
Her name is Yuka Mori, and she was in that panel. I was so starstruck. Those are some of my favorite Pokemon cards. And not only that, but she hosted a little workshop for us where she gave us clay and taught us how to make little clay Magnemites like in this card here. Speaking of this card, she brought the actual original Magnemite for us to see.
Wow.
That was by far the coolest thing that I've ever gotten to be a part of. We got to meet a piece of genuine history.
Yeah.
I felt like I was meeting the president. Also, here's me and Jacob.
President Magnemite.
Day 3 of our little Pokemon field trip, and we were taken to another Pokemon Center. This time in Shibuya, which was also right across from a Nintendo store. It was like a bullet was shot through our credit cards. In the shopping center, I saw a little gacha machine with little miniature Chiikawa plushes. I was only interested in getting Chiikawa, but I decided to test my luck anyway. And I got him first try. Now I had 2 of them. Yes, the original was still in my pocket. You can safely assume he is in my pocket for the entirety of this video.
You got a little stunt double.
Jacob snapped this awesome picture of the Chiikawa brain rot taking over. When we were looking around
the brain
shop,
rot.
A little Japanese boy pointed at Jacob and went, Sanji-san, before his mother quickly yanked him away, and I still to this day laugh at that interaction.
Oh my god.
I saw his first blonde guy in real life and immediately thought it was Sanji. Later that day, we also got to attend the Pokemon Symphony, where a live orchestra played Pokemon songs, and it was absolutely incredible. Video game orchestras are so cool. It always tugs on my heartstrings to see video game music transformed into such a beautiful new art form. Highly recommend attending one if you have any favorite games or franchises. On to the first day of Worlds. It was exciting. People flooded into the venue. We watched the opening ceremony in the crowd. Just wow. This is the whole reason why we're here. We went back to shopping. Look at this cute little Chiikawa book I found in a nearby bookstore. At this point, we were absolutely pushing it in terms of luggage space, and we were day 4 into a 2.5-week trip. Our shopping sprees until this point were very not frugal. So we cut our losses and bought 2 extra giant
my god, and the Peter Griffin.
Okay, we knew we were gonna need extra suitcases. Getting a few extra couldn't hurt. Look, the flights were paid for. We were still saving money at this point, I think.
Yeah.
That's my rationalization. I'm going with that.
You still got lots of money, right?
Tons of Pokemon monitors straight up playing the World Championships. TCG, Pokemon Go, VGC. Japan treated Worlds like it was the Super Bowl. And it was just so
Super
cool
Bowl.
to see one of my main interests so culturally celebrated. People of all ages would stop by to watch for a bit before going back to their shopping. I can't explain it, but it just made me very happy. We
warms the heart, huh?
Live on the monitors. How'd he do? He did great. Don't worry about it. Nothing happened. Look, just happy
he didn't do terrible? Are you sure?
Love you, Wolfie. You're so cool. The second day of Worlds was hype. So hype that we left Yokohama and flew to Osaka. I haven't mentioned it yet, but we actually got tickets to see the one and only Hatsune Miku live in concert.
No way!
How huge that is for me. I want to talk about how life-changing that was, but I'm gonna make a whole separate video about that experience I'll be posting next. All I'm gonna say is it was the best day of my entire life. By a lot. Subscribe now before you miss it, just saying. I will mention we did definitely to get back later that night and got super lost again.
You know, making a reaction on that video, right?
We did finally get back to Yokohama, crashed for the night, and had a nice slow morning as we got ready for finals later that day. To any One Piece fans who are caught up, we were in Japan for the One Piece anime episode. You know what I'm talking about. 1072. We were able to turn on our hotel TV and watch it live. And that was so cool. I don't talk about how much I love One Piece much, mainly because it doesn't really come up. But One Piece is peak, and it was an honor to
I know how good One Piece is, you know.
The manga and anime's history. Anyway, back to Pokemon. Sorry about that. We were able to watch the final VGC match live, got to chat and eat dinner with Wolfie and some other friends, had a late night hangout with Jan again, and that was about it. Day 7 meant it was time to pack up all our stuff from the hotel, say goodbye to Pokemon and Yokohama, and head on over to the apartment we rented for the rest of our stay just outside of Tokyo. At this point, we had filled up all 6 suitcases and multiple backpacks. I didn't mention it, but Pokemon gave us a truckload of gifts that we
lot of stuff.
No idea what to do with. We're grateful.
There's a Polly and a Psyduck.
Yeah, the taxi ride was a bit awkward. So, are you meeting up with some friends? No. After we got situated in we decided to look around the area and grab some lunch. And I gotta say, the little hole-in-the-wall restaurant Jacob found was some of the best ramen I've ever had ever. They even made it vegetarian for me, which was extremely kind of them.
That's nice.
Is a bit tricky in Japan compared to the States, so I was very, very thankful. And it was delicious. We then proceeded to do absolutely nothing for the rest of the day because we were exhausted from the trip so far. I haven't mentioned absolutely everything we've been doing on the trip because it would be a lot of, first we did this and it was cool.
Then we did that.
It was cool.
This and that and everything, you know?
I was so dead and definitely looked super not approachable or friendly to the rest of the group by the end of it. Sorry, guys. But neither time nor Japan stops for anyone, so we had to keep on chugging along. There were a bunch of friends we wanted to see while in Japan, and one of them was Connor. He wanted to take us to what he deemed his favorite Italian place ever.
Italian. I love Italian food.
Italian, to which I was given the answer of no. So we get there, having a great time, and suddenly we realize Junichi Masuda, the director of Game Freak, is there having dinner. Not a fancy dinner, my ass. I then looked down to see the Freddy Fazbear FNAF t-shirt that I am wearing. Not the best Jaden moment to exist, but hey, what can you do? The food was phenomenal, though. I already mentioned the best ramen I've ever had while on the trip, but this was genuinely the best pasta I've ever had in my entire life. Maybe
ramen and pasta, you know?
Ever for me. I don't know what the other two would be, but that Connor place is definitely up there. The next day, we went to the One Piece store in Shibuya and bought a lot of stuff because there was a lot
because the One Piece is real, huh?
As you could imagine. If you don't get it, go catch up and come back. Don't worry, it won't take too long. My favorite character is Mihawk.
Are you sure it's gonna take that long?
The store had to offer. There were only a few stickers and a single keychain from Mihawk. I'm still mauling about that one. I just want more Mihawk. Is that too much to ask for? Even this guy got better merch. The world's greatest swordsman deserves better. I guess I'll just take my Zoro and Law stuff. That's cool too, I suppose.
Yeah.
I also found a bunch of Chikawa stuff in a Kittyland store, and this is truly when you get to see where things start going down.
Freaking boy.
I just like the funny little cartoon bear thing. What is that such a crime?
Phoenix,
I don't remember
right.
what we did the rest of the day. I think we just crashed and passed out. This trip, as surreal as it's been so far, has been absolutely taking a toll on me, and I desperately needed to just not move or talk or exist for a bit. We were doing so many different things that were all awesome, and hanging out with so many different people that were all awesome, but man, I am not built for extended periods of that much excitement and socializing. As much as I would like to change this fact, I'm also not a very active person. I know.
True, me too.
This trip, I was practically sitting down 24/7, working all the time to prep as much work as possible so I could have a guilt-free 3 weeks off, and my muscles were definitely starting to decay at that point. I looked at my phone's step meter thing, and there was one day where I literally got 300 steps. That's pathetic. And suddenly, I'm logging over 20,000 daily. My body was screaming.
Oh my God.
What the hell are you doing out there? Please stop. Plus, we were in Japan during the hottest, most humid time of the year. Every time we left the air-conditioned luxury
Japan gets super hot.
I immediately be drenched in sweat. Look, I'm used to the heat. I grew up in Arizona, but even this was too much. So yeah, crash and burn it was. Tokyo Disneyland was a bit underwhelming. It felt like a slightly worse version of the one in California because of the oddly spaced layout and surprisingly empty vibe. We did go to a Stitch-themed show thing, and as we were walking in, a worker stopped us and said, "Oh, excuse me, Stitch only speaks Japanese," like warning us it's not super tourist friendly. But I just think the statement of Stitch only speaks Japanese is hilarious. We went in anyway, and yep, Stitch only spoke Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, it was not the best thing we did, but apparently, I didn't know this. Japan has 2 Disneys, Disneyland and Disney Sea. And we went to Land, which is unanimously deemed the worst of the 2.
Land ho!
Better luck next time. Jacob and I
if there is a next time,
where we just turned to ash, then up and at 'em, back to Osaka we go. This time we went to an Eve concert. Besides Hatsune Miku, the Japanese band Eve is the only
Hatsune Miku
I wanted to go see. I love their music videos they have for all their songs. It's always such beautiful animation. And by the way, they're the ones who sang the season 1 Jujutsu Kaisen anime opening theme, if you're lost. Earlier in the trip, Jacob just so happened to look up if they were doing a concert while we were there, and lo and behold, they were. He got some totally not scalped tickets, which turned out to be a super complicated process, so thank you, Jacob. You're the bestest friend I've ever had.
Poor thing.
The trenches for silly old me. Anyway, the concert was so incredible. The atmosphere was fantastic. They had awesome visual effects going on. The glow bands a lot of people bought were perfectly synced to the music and colors on the stage, which really enhanced the experience. The music was great, which I mean, of course it was. That was the whole reason we went in the first place. I talk about it more in the upcoming Miku video, but Japanese encores are so much different from the American ones. They're so quiet and polite. There was pretty much no screaming and cheering. It was just a long applause with a semi-whisper chant of encore, encore.
Yeah, they're just...
And they also made us wait like 5 minutes for them to come back out. My hands were getting itchy just from clapping so much. That's how long it took. And then when they finally came out, they ended up doing like 5 extra songs. I mean, I'm not complaining, but after the 4th time thinking, man, that was a great last extra song.
Yeah.
Well, time to head home. Wait. Another? It starts getting a bit comedic.
Another.
It's just a side tangent, but Jacob went off to use the bathroom before the show started and came back 10 minutes later like, dude, this is crazy, but it took me a bit longer to find a bathroom because there were so many extra women's bathrooms.
Oh, jeez.
Whoa, that's actually so smart. There's always such a huge line for the women's bathroom compared to the men's in any scenario. I was just shocked.
Really? Why?
Like, okay, then we'll make more women's bathrooms to fix that problem. Like, it was so simple. I know in America it would probably turn into a...
Okay, but why though? Can someone actually comment down below why there's more female bathrooms?
And straightforward solution so easily for
kind of sexist, not gonna lie.
We headed over to Universal, which was hands down the best amusement park I've ever been to.
Super Nintendo World.
Do amusement parks well. First of all, Universal Japan is way more anime and manga focused than the ones in the States, which made it.
You can't forget about Super Nintendo World.
Jacob and I both agreed we would window shop for the first part of the day and then buy all the things we wanted as we were leaving so we wouldn't have to lug around a bunch of bags all day. But we immediately saw a little One Piece shop and cracked. We just wanted to wear these One Piece headbands. That's rule-breaking worthy. We also got some towels because, surprise, surprise, it was freaking hot. I know I've been complaining about the weather here and there, but my lord, it was miserably scorching.
It's crazy.
Japan has such a big culture around staying cool while outside, and I totally get it now. People would be walking around with little fans, ice packs, towels. A lot of women had parasols. Also, if we didn't get those towels, we probably could have passed out for
could have gotten cooked.
Later on, I even ended up getting another towel. It was a cute Pikachu one, but I got it mainly because it was a cloak design.
Nice.
After soaking that thing in cold water and putting it on, my body temperature instantly lowered like 5 degrees. However, that meant I was walking around the park looking like this. Back to the awesome stuff. We did a bunch of attractions like watch a fun 4D Jujutsu Kaisen show where the seats move around, went on a super cool 3D VR Spider-Man ride. We tried to cool down by going on a Minions thing called Freeze Ray sliders that claimed to cool riders down with a blast of chilled mist from a giant freeze ray. But we got on and absolutely did not even touch a drop of the mist because it never ended up getting in range of our cart. That felt like an actual tragedy at the time. There were a few big roller coasters we wanted to go on, but I get super motion sick and forgot to bring nausea medicine, so no roller coasters for us, but I shall return one day. The park, of course, had a bunch of cool themed restaurants, one of them being a super cool One Piece restaurant.
Of course.
Like One Piece. There also was a special Sanji one, but we didn't know you needed a reservation, so it was awesome though. I love One Piece. After a few hours of rides and being broiled alive,
we're Super Nintendo World.
We cool off by going on the Jurassic Park ride. That's
of course
Splash Mountain with dinosaurs. We cooked in line for probably a solid hour, and as soon as we were literally stepping foot inside the ride, it started pouring rain. Now that's just not fair. I don't even understand how that happened, but whatever. We started buying all the stuff we window shopped for as we waited for the One Piece live show to begin. Again, please refrain from judging. I am being vulnerable and open here.
So much One Piece.
As we were walking around, we stumbled onto a little Mario-themed show just out in a courtyard.
There we go.
They played some fun little custom songs and had all these dancers alongside the mascots. And then out of nowhere, they started absolutely blasting the crowd with like gallons of water.
Oh my god.
It was like firefighters showed up to put out a giant fire, except the fire was a bunch of Japanese people. The time came and we got to file in for the special One Piece live show, and even though Jacob and I didn't understand a single part of it because it was all in Japanese, it was awesome, and the costume design was phenomenal. It was a bit unfortunate though, because the seats were all in like a half circle formation around the stage. As much as they tried to make the show enjoyable from all angles, it was pretty hard to see the main things going on in the center. My only true complaint though is that Zoro didn't come to our side at all. All the other characters rotated around so we could see them, but Zoro only did it at the very end to take a bow. Also, Mila being included would have been nice, but it's okay. By the time we got to enter Nintendo Land, it was like 9 p.m. We got up at 6 a.m. by the way, so we pretty much just rode the Yoshi's Island ride. And that was it. And headed home because that's all the energy we had left. But even just seeing that, it was miles better than the one in the States. Also, we picked up a little dinner at the 7-Eleven near our hotel. 7-Eleven is actually awesome in Japan, by the way. And they had a few little Chicoa plushie keychains, and I bought them. Just being transparent here. We woke up early the next morning to catch our flight back to Tokyo and hurried over to the Kirby Cafe.
Hey, Kirby!
Booked the reservation for us. She was meant to also be there, but she was only able to get 2 seats and gave them to us as a gift. Emily, I will always be indebted to you for your sacrifice. The cafe itself was so well decorated.
Thank you, Emily. Oh my god, Wispy Woods.
And the menu was adorable. I got the star curry and a magical little fruity drink with a Kirby marshmallow that triggered my cute aggression.
Kirby.
Got the pizza and a Kirby burger. But since he made modifications, the staff asked him to not post a picture of the burger to the public. Like, they didn't know he was a content creator or anything. I guess they just didn't want the public to see a naked Kirby burger. We also both got desserts, I already decided I was gonna consume the Carby. The presentation was
the Carby. Oh, the Carby!
Taste-wise, it was decent. The body was some sort of gelatin, which I wasn't too crazy about, but the rest was super tasty. I did my best, but he ended up looking like he was in a horrific accident when I threw in the towel. The cafe also has a special little private store connected to it. And yeah, what you expect happened definitely happened. We left with full bellies and bags, continued to look around the shopping center the cafe was connected to, and ended up walking into a gacha store. I am about to be very vulnerable with you here. This is one of the lowest points of my entire life.
Oh boy.
Please don't think too much less of me after what happened in that gacha store. So I walk in, spot Chikawa, beeline it to the machine.
Of course!
Before, I'm only interested in Chikawa, so I was only playing for him. But by the cursed luck of the gacha gods, I just could not get him. I was going back and forth between the machine and the coin exchange, getting multiples of every other little guy, but no Chikawa. I could feel the workers' glances at me, probably because the desk they were standing behind was right next to the machine I was grinding. But after way too much money, he dropped. I got my well-earned, horribly priced at that point, Chikawa. I then started looking at all the other machines, putting some coins in a few here and there, until I stopped at one that had a line of animals playing band instruments.
Oh, really?
They were very silly, but there was a little pigeon holding up cymbals.
A pigeon!
I really wanted to get him for Jordan and Kelsey. In went the coins. Tiger, elephant, fox. It was happening again. Everything except the one I wanted, which I know more or less that's the luck with gachas, but it was getting to the point where I was getting surprised the pigeon was dodging me as much as it was.
Yeah.
Surely the next one. What? Eventually, I had to go back to the coin exchange, and as I was about to put in more money, I saw out of the corner of my eye one of the workers peek out and take a look in horror at all the gachapons that were sitting at the top of the bag. They then raised up their hand and said something in Japanese while shaking their head. And I knew in my heart, I was being cut off. No, please, I can stop whenever. Just a few more hits and I'm done. The pigeon is next. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Why do you look afraid? What's under the desk? I got kicked out of a gacha store. I had an all-time low. I told my friends and they said they probably just thought I was gonna try and resell them, but I don't even know if that would even make it sound better, knowing I was getting so many that they thought I was robbing them blind. I just wanted my little Chikawa and pigeon with cymbals.
That was not even robbing them.
That night with a friend, and we were just about to grab a taxi and
head
back to freshen up, but Jacob and I caught sight of a fun anime and goodies shop.
Oh no.
Who do we think we are? People with self-control? We'll make it quick. We rushed in and split up for optimization. As I was looking around, I saw it. A whole section dedicated to Chikawa.
Oh my god!
A freshly baked pie on a windowsill, and I was suddenly floating over to it. My eyes were zoned in, making sure I saw every single thing possible, putting Chikawa after Chikawa in the basket. Jacob eventually came over and showed me a picture he took on his phone.
Dude.
In my tunnel vision, all my eyes registered was that the picture showed more Chikawa in the store.
It's always Chikawa, huh?
Where? Jacob's eyebrows went up in surprise and maybe a bit of fear.
Chikawa!
And as I looked at the photo again, I realized Jacob wasn't showing me a picture of a different Chikawa section. He was showing me a picture of me at the current Chikawa section I was standing in because he thought it was funny. And in my Chikawa brain rot, I didn't even register I was in the picture. I just saw more Chikawa and went obsessive. This is how I am.
Oh, are you in rehab now?
No, I don't need an intervention.
Chikawa rehab.
I looked longingly at the crane machine Chikawas we didn't have time for, and we made it in time for dinner. Plus, we ended up in another arcade nearby anyway, and I got myself a Chikawa from one of those machines, so it worked out. Stop. I don't want to hear it. Finally, we were reaching the end of
dawn of the final day.
The last day grabbing lunch with Emily and Didas. There was a cool One Piece scavenger hunt event going on, so we also did that with them. We basically had to walk around Shibuya and find special One Piece trading card posters hidden around the area, and if we found enough along with the special card of the day, we could get a limited edition mystery card. It was fun, but also hot and all my clothes were sticking to my body. Daidas generously let me borrow his umbrella, and I jumped for joy as he showed me it was coincidentally Chikawa themed. I don't know what's wrong with me. All I know is that
of course,
happy.
anything Chikawa, Jaden's just gonna take.
Got our special cards and bid them farewell. Always good to see you guys.
Bye, Emily.
I accidentally stole Daidas' umbrella. It looked so calculated. They knew how much I was obsessed with Chikawa. They'd been watching my Instagram stories. Follow if you want to see brain rot in real time.
Yeah.
Emily, I have the Chikawa umbrella. I didn't mean to steal it. I promise. It's not what it looks like. Since we were leaving in the morning and wouldn't be seeing them again, they just let me keep it. But the side-eye Jacob gave me the rest of the way back.
Oh my god!
I didn't mean to stop it.
Okay.
The apartment,
they let you keep it. That's nice.
We needed just a few more suitcases.
Oh boy.
Again. In total, we ended up buying 6 extra suitcases to hold everything we bought. And even then,
holy
it was
shit, Jaden!
It fit. Jacob ended
You're
up
crazy.
Professional Tetris mode, perfectly fitting everything into the
One piece,
with quite
Snorlax,
no extra room to spare. We came to Japan each with a backpack, carry-on, and 1 extra big suitcase, and we're leaving with altogether 8 suitcases and 4 backpacks.
Wow.
We were lucky the taxi driver had a big enough car to fit everything because we didn't have much of a game plan if it didn't. Off to the airport we went, where we checked all of our excessive bags, paid a couple fees, boarded our flight, and headed home. That trip will go down as one of the best trips I've ever gone on.
Really?
It felt like it turned into a celebration of everything that makes me me. All of my hobbies and interests, Pokemon, One Piece, at the last minute, Chikawa. We got to do so many incredible things and were given so many opportunities I'd never even
I can't wait for the Miku video too.
I got to see so many friends that are normally so far away, ate some of the best meals of my life, and overall was just really happy, especially getting to spend it all with my best friend Jacob. By the way, if you wanted to know why in the world we got so many things, yes, a lot of it was for us. 90% of it all was for our friends. 100% of the Chikawa stuff was mine, but that's beside the point. If you want to see what we got them, also credit where credit is due, the majority of it all was from Jacob, because he's a great gift giver and even more incredible friend to the people around him. We're all nothing short of lucky to be able to call him our friend. You can go watch his Japan video. I assume it's already up, because we had to animate a freaking 30-minute long video. My god, it was a lot. Thanks for sticking around. But yeah, I just had an unforgettable trip, and I owe the opportunity to the Pokemon Company for inviting us to Japan in the first place.
That's crazy.
I'm extremely lucky to be in the position I am.
Very grateful, huh?
Forever grateful.
Damn, so much great fan art of the VTubers and everything. Anyways, guys, make sure to like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, and share. I'll see you guys next time. Later, guys. Thanks for watching, and deuces.